Hello everyone, it is Mike Levin on Sunday, June 5th for real. I got the date wrong yesterday on a video or two. June 5th, 2022, Sunday, and I'm getting ready for a canoe ride down the Delaware. And this time I am going to take care of a problem that I had last time, which if you're following my videos, you know, through my heat gun work, which is heating up over there on the table, I have overly keyed these to particular canoe rail rack rails on my car. So I have to do the correct rail on the correct side of the car, because see how particularly molded and keyed that is for that, the shape of that thing? That's a mistake. It also is a little too short, but I'm just going to take care of the shape thing so that it can go over either side. I will have the slipping off problem. It's not as well done as the do-it-yourselfer who showed me how to do this on the internet, but it's going to go on either side on either rack at the end of today. So I went into my toolbox and I went looking for something that has the right mechanical advantage. Like I pictured these chopsticks that would expand out. But to do that, you need some mechanical advantage to get that expanding. So a plumbing wrench, look at that. It's like it was made for the job. So again, I'll be kind of like roasting marshmallows here using my little red flyer, radio flyer, little red wagon, which has this nice indention here, kind of a rotation point. And you know, I guess I might as well get to it. That's red hot. Look at that red hot. Once again, I'll use the bike to get back from the landing point to the launch point. So we just roast our marshmallows, and I'm just going for a little bit of softness. It's not even going to need to be as much softness as before, just a little bit. And the red wagon here is the perfect thing for the heat gun, because I can put it down in there without any risk of excessive heat damaging anything. And I just want to change the shape a little bit wider, and a little bit less of a particular shape. Well, I should probably leave it on. My inclination is to turn it off because of the audio. Much better for you to hear the birds. Got to get it to just the right point too. The widest point is too wide. Oh, yeah, I'll probably need one more thing, you know? One to expand and one to grip. So I'll leave this on and you hold tight. I'll be right back with lock pliers. I was hoping just the one wrench would be enough, but never hurts to have lock pliers. One of the best tools in the world. If you don't use these, you should. And for good measure, just another set of pliers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the ticket. That's gonna work real nice. Last time I really used stretching it over those rails as the main mechanism of stretching and shaping, which worked really well. I was so pleased with it, except for the one nuance that it got really particularly keyed for those rails. Not the best idea for everyday use, because you don't know what side you're going to want to load the canoe on and off of. You can't control that. So just larger and less of a particular shape. See, it's getting real marshmallowy. We don't want it to marshmallow into the wrong shape. That would be bad. So once you get it to this really soft level that I'm going for, there's two directions. It needs to be stretched and held for a bit. One is larger this way, and the other is larger this way. Both need to be expanded. Wider and taller. Wider and taller. Wider and taller. Okay, let's hit that while it's hot. Okay, so I'm going to let it dry on there a little bit because, or cool down, because it will contract a little bit. And you could see me going back and forth between the two sides, twisting and making sure the hole is expanded and making sure it'll go on either side. And it does, and it will. And so as it cools, I'm hoping it doesn't contract so much that it's keyed to the side it's drying on. However, it's still going to be a lot better than it was. And so now we do the other side. Roasting the marshmallows, roasting the marshmallows. I'm going right to the inside sometimes. There will be a little bit of browning, just like a marshmallow. I don't care. And so here we have the Vink for bike charging. It really is charged well enough. I'm just topping it off so that I don't have any issues. Some people don't like that. Topping off lithium-ion batteries reduces their life a little bit. However, you know, there's a feeling of having a fully charged battery that's just so nice that when you have the time and you're going on an adventure like this, I don't see any reason why not. It hasn't really even been recharged since that last ride down the Delaware you might have joined me on. And I've been using it, you know, every other day maybe since, you know, checking the mail with it. It's not even worth taking the car to go up to the community mailbox. I just use the bike now all the time for short little rides like that. It's getting there. It's amazing how useful PVC piping is for applications other than plumbing. Always keep it in mind for do-it-yourself projects. This is one of its great attributes. It becomes malleable. Look at that. I can almost use the gun as the thing to expand it to the size I need. The heat gun, I guess they call it. And this was a really super cheap heat gun on Amazon. It was like $25 or $30. I think it was $28, if I remember correctly. There we go. See, now we're getting the malleableness. I'll get a little bit more in the edges here. Got to get it all. And then we'll do the 2-wrench treatment again. 2-wrench, 3-wrench, pliers, wrench. See, in my mind, I was just going to be able to take this one, put it in there, and just expand it out. And while there is that aspect to it going on, it's definitely doing what I envisioned. As you stretch it out on that direction, it narrows on the other direction. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess of course it would. So you do need something else to keep that from narrowing. And in fact, it might even be less of the wrench work that does the job than once I get it over there to the actual canoe rack. Because, you know, just twisting it and working it a little bit on the rack seems to do as much as this wrench work or plier work. So let's finish that out. Yeah, so it's going pretty well, but I'm actually going to re-soften the first one a bit. And I have concerns that I'm still keying it to a side of the car. Maybe not the particular rack, but I may be still keying it to the side of the car because of the shape of these racks. But we'll see. It's going to be really good for today. I'll do the whole thing all the way through. As soon as I have this one finished, I'll load the canoe on. Maybe bring the camera closer and say a few things about strapping a canoe into a car rack. If I were to do this again, I would go for more depth. I would try and soften this thing down to a good 3 inches or more, and then have slid it in from the side as far as possible, which I thought I did, but I see now I probably could have done a better job before allowing that bend to occur. Because right now it's only about 1 inch to 1.5 inches being allowed before that bend. And I have had some slippage, taking the canoe down more than going up, because when you're putting the canoe onto the rack, the way it holds works for you, because the sliding of the canoe up onto the rack pushes these things even further onto the rack. But when you're unloading the canoe, there is definitely the opportunity for it to slide off, to be pulled off. So I'm really softening it right near that neck where that bend occurs, to see if I can't get it to be a little bit better sitting on the rack. Getting a little bit over the hump, such as it were. Re-softening right in that neck spot. And I'll leave this going just in case I need the heat gun again. Too much in the neck and not enough on the lips. You can see my gentle roasting marshmallow technique giving way to a more, let's get this done. Let's get this done and get out on that river. Yeah, we're going to let that cool. And that will have to cool for a little bit. I really softened that neck up good. So I'll bring the camera closer. I'll start talking about some of the mounting of the canoe stuff, maybe some canoe safety tips. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, I love stuff. I love stuff. I don't like editing. That's not some of the stuff that I like. But I do like lots of things. And I find love. Like is not a strong enough word. I find love in lots of things. And some of the love that I find is in projects. Educational, do-it-yourself projects. Alleviating potential big pitfalls and downfalls in life, of the sort where helmets, I was talking about helmets yesterday, how you can so easily damage your head. So in all kinds of these physical activity sports, it's good to use helmets. And small investment for the payback of your noggin staying intact. And so this is a very similar type of thing. I'm 51 years old, and I don't want a bad back. Bad backs are one of the worst things that can happen to you in life. Like glasses. Glasses cut off all kinds of physical activities because it's a psychological drain knowing that they could fly off, you'll be blind. It's a weakness. Growing up, roughhousing with my kid, always for the glasses, always for the glasses. And I had to convince them, look, just because someone has a weakness, you don't want to lunge at it right away. You know, you want to enjoy the activity for what it's for. And if you become the kind of person who instantly goes after a weakness, you know, say like identifying what people love most and then attacking what they love most, well, that's evil. You know, you don't want to nurture what ambush predators evolved to do. Now, ambush predators are not inherently evil. The expression of what ambush predators do in a being that's capable of not using ambush predator techniques, that's evil, because it's the premeditated use of high efficiency, high kill rate strategies that require sneakiness. That's evil. I opened this video with Green Lantern's little poem, and probably it's one of the best things to come out of comic books, period. In brightest day, in darkest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. Green, it's the energy from which the Green Lantern Corps draws its force. And they put their rings out in front of the lanterns, either their local lanterns or their central on that planet at the center of the galaxy, big master lantern. And it's the power of human free will. So to not use evil predation techniques, part of our lower base animal, because we all have it in us, right? Our reptile brain, our lizard brain, the limbic system, they call them. And these are just stupid labels. It's just a lot of brain parts that have evolved along the way that have served the most necessary functions of the type of animal it was at the time. So at the base of our spine is the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus around there. And all these things are for lower level animals, the worm, the amphibian, and the reptile. And reptiles are really good ambush predators. And they're not evil. They they have the attributes of it, those slanted eyes. Poison snake's eyes are different than non-poison snake's eyes because they are emitting signals that they're venomous. Now, that comes off as evil very easily, right? The Bible and the snake and all that. But it's not actually evil. It's just extremely different survival techniques that values efficiency and clean kill. Cats are a little bit evil because cats are mammals and they regressed from using their highly evolved social animal skills because the young are born alive. Mammals have a lot more need for empathy than reptiles do, except maybe alligators and crocs. So there's always exceptions to the rule. There's outliers, but on the whole, you know, non-mammals are born more able to take care of themselves as soon as they come out of the egg or whatever. Humans have a longer gestation period outside the womb. Can't even lift up their heads when they're born, right? Much less hunt. So mammals have all these soft, fuzzy animal emotions, different from reptiles, and that's why reptiles look evil to us. But when a human is exhibiting reptilian behavior, they have choice. They are mammals with choice. They have not regressed. They're not cats. Might be cat people. It's part of why people like me love the cats, right? Because it's like, you can relate, but you're not behaving like that. You would rather a roommate in a cat than a, fan, a servant, a slave in a dog, because that's what dogs are, because of the hierarchy of the pack and stuff, the strong social structure. Cats have prides because they have pride, and they often go out on their own. It's not uncommon to have cat species where the only time they see another cat is mating. So, you know, cats are a regression to a more reptilian strategy. And, you know, still love cats, don't hold it against them. I love lizards and reptiles. But know them when you're dealing with them. So it should be cooled by now. Let me make sure the power is still going to the phone and keeping it charging, because I'll be on the river and I want a fully charged battery for shooting some videos. I'll document my electric bike method of getting back to the launch site. So it's from launch to landing is what I'm talking about. And it's really exciting to me, this launch to landing concept, because it opens the door to one person physical activities and adventures where you would normally have needed at least 2 drivers and maybe 2 cars in the past. Not anymore, thanks to the wonders of electric bikes. And I can't say it enough. Right as I got this 750 watt one going, yeah, I don't have to settle for the 500 watts. I can get the 750 watt one for $1,000. Now they're up to like 1,500 watts. And geez, it's always going to be that way. You can't beat yourself up for buying technology a little bit too soon. Moore's law is going to drive everything forward. The miracle of batteries. Oh, don't get me started. I'm going to keep this to be a canoe video. Okay, that's drying up. And this will be a nice continuous shoot video, right? Make sure they're well secured. The pushing is going to be in the right direction. And this is all about back saving. There's nothing about this which isn't about making sure that I'll be doing this at 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old. Once again, carrying these things before the rafting or before the canoeing trip is really no big deal because they're not waterlogged yet. Just put it down like that, right at the base. You know, there's different ways. I haven't gotten down my technique yet. These things are so much lighter than they look because they're actually styrofoam inside. Styrofoam with some sort of plastic coating. If this thing were to be chopped up into pieces, each individual piece would be a legit flotation device. Old Town. You can never stop and double check too much. I'm not really happy with the grip of this one here. I will probably re-soften this one just like I re-softened that one, but not for this video. Bend at the knees, always bend at the knees. Get centered, always be centered. There you go. I'm doing this with the purchase stuff, 800 bucks, as much money as that canoe. Doing it this way, well, if I didn't waste my money on 1.5 inch PVC, these are 2 inches. If I went with 2 inch right away, the whole project would have probably been about 60 bucks, plus a little bit for the heat gun. Yeah, so that's really good. I like that. Now to talk about the straps. I've got these straps that have these wonderful red things on the end. And I only have 3 of those. So I have this other one, which is the same thing, but it doesn't have a red thing. So I take the ones that have the rubber stoppers and I put 2 of them together to be long enough. Now it's a little counterintuitive how this actually ends up working on the car. Maybe I'll bring the camera closer so you can see the cleverness of how a canoe gets strapped onto a raft. It's a little bit different than you might imagine. I can go without charging for a few minutes for the sake of giving you a closer view of this.